Marvel fans, I'm sure you're feeling it just like I am. The MCU is in a weird place. This despite Guardians of the Galaxy being loved by most of the fans and performing really well at the box office. It just kind of feels like the entire Marvel fandom is in a holding pattern as we wait to see what is happening with Jonathan Majors and Kang the Conqueror. And I've said it before, it's absolutely nuts that we are in this position. Marvel Studios has never put so many eggs into a singular basket and then had that basket get arrested for domestic abuse in a really messy scandal. And believe it or not, we just got a new report that makes this whole situation even worse. So we got to talk about what went down with Marvel Studios changing their entire plan to focus on Jonathan Majors, why they made that decision, and then I want to speculate in the back half of the video as to what they should do now. What are their options, and what do I think they should do? We've got a lot to get into, so smash a freaking like on this video and let's begin. Okay, so first up, I want to qualify this report. This was just talked about on The Ringer's Big Picture podcast. And the statement comes from Joanna Robinson, who is a writer and a critic. She's currently actually working on an entire book called The MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios. Joanna obviously has incredible sources. She has been a writer for Vanity Fair for a long time, and she's broken all kinds of exclusives about Marvel Studios. Like, she has incredible sources. And what she said about Marvel Studios and Jonathan Majors will shock you. She says here, I was told by somebody who works for Marvel it was not the plan to make Kang the center of everything until they saw the dailies from Quantumania. And after his performance in Loki, which was so strong, they were like, this is it. This is our way forward. We've lost our varsity hero team, but let's set up around this guy, Kang, and this performer that so many people are reacting to. We know this is a huge problem for them that they are facing and grappling with right now. And what's unprecedented in this for Marvel is, I would argue they have never hung so much on a franchise on one actor as they tried to hang on Jonathan Majors after his Loki performance and his Ant-Man Quantumania performance. I would argue more than Downey as Iron Man, more than Brolin as Thanos, that hanging everything on this guy is then going to pop up in all of their properties leading up to something called the Kang Dynasty has put them in a very unusual position. They don't usually hang this much on one person in the way that they did here, and that has put them in a bind. We do not know what they are going to do. I've heard conflicting stories about they are going to replace him, they're not even considering replacing him, etc., but it's just one more thing. Okay, so damn, that's crazy. And the main reason that this is just so nuts is because it appears Marvel Studios was not going to just go all in on Kang in the way that they did up until they saw the dailies for Quantumania and they got the performance out there for Loki. Because here's the thing, you've got to understand, this guy did one episode for Loki, and he was actually announced as being the villain of Quantumania before it was ever officially attached to Loki. It was a really big surprise that he popped up in that show. And what it kind of seems like is Marvel Studios was in a position that they knew they needed something that audiences would really attach to, and they were worried because they had lost all of their varsity heroes, right? Like Captain America, Iron Man. And given the unique problems of where they were at in Phase 4, trying to get to Secret Wars, they decided they would take this incredible performer, somebody that had just really blown them away, and double, triple, nay, quadruple down on that guy. So basically, the whole road to Secret Wars and the whole idea of just making all of this Kang came after they looked at how great he was in Quantumania and Loki. So like things that we heard, right? Rumors about the Beyonder being Kang the Conqueror, the fact that Kang the Conqueror was going to be in all of these other different movies, that seems to have been a plan put in place relatively recently and just sort of codified for Marvel Studios after after they saw Quantumania. And I think Joanna Robinson is absolutely correct in her assessment of the situation. They've never been in a situation like this. This is so weird for them. They are normally very careful in the way they leverage different people, and it's a big universe, so you never really see them fully committed. I mean, dude, they have recast people before, right? And just kind of kept it moving. And yet, in the exact situation that they are in now, they find themselves having decided that it's all going to be about Kang because of the caliber of performer that Majors is, and now they're in a situation where they might not be able to have this guy as Kang anymore. And from what we've heard from other scoopers and insiders just sort of talking about this on Twitter, it seems like Marvel Studios is not going to change the plan that basically they just came up with. So it's going to be freaking Kang. And I think you can see now with this new report that Marvel Studios is heavily incentivized to just keep Jonathan Majors. And this will, of course, depend on what comes out in the court case and how they can spin it into the court of public opinion. For now, I actually think most people are not really fond of where Jonathan Majors is at least in the court of public opinion. But time and distance away from controversy does tend to make these things a little less prevalent for people and a little less talked about on social media. I mean, we're about to watch the Flash movie, and of course, there's just crazy history out there as to what Ezra Miller has been getting into over the past couple of years. So it's totally possible Marvel's just waiting to see how this goes, and they're going to make a decision based on the actual court date, which I believe will be happening in early June. And I think it's interesting that she's hearing these conflicting reports about how they're not even considering replacing him, but other people are saying they're absolutely replacing him. This is something we've heard repeated by other people like Jeff Snyder, and it seems like Marvel Studios is obviously exploring all of their options, including recasting Jonathan Majors. But I gotta say, that's crazy, because if they actually go that route, they're going to need to work really hard to find the caliber of actor needed to hold up the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe as we get towards Secret Wars. I mean, again, they seem to have made that plan after they realized how talented Majors was. Now they're in a weird situation where they're calling for a person with that level of impact as far as being a performer. Like, so now you're trying to find the next Jonathan Majors to fill this freaking role? That's insane. However, there are a lot of talented actors out there, and I suppose if Marvel Studios understands just how important this is, they've probably been already on the hunt and maybe have located a few individuals that they think could actually do it. If that is happening, it is happening at the upper levels and with the utmost secrecy. There are even some rumors out there based on some things that Alex Perez has said online that suggest Marvel Studios may have already replaced Jonathan Majors, and at the end of the Loki show, we will meet the new actor playing the Kang variants. But I actually have another idea that could fix this problem. When I was hearing these comments made by Joanna, a light bulb went off in my head. Because you see, it seems like the plan to focus it all on Majors was because they understood they had this problem without the heavy-hitting Avengers people. Without Chris Evans and without Robert Downey Jr., you need some really crazy talent to really draw people in and kind of keep this whole thing going. But if you can't get that, right? If Majors is going away and the actor that's said to replace him is just not good enough, then I think you just simply go back to these veteran heroes. Why not just bring Tony Stark and Chris Evans back faster than you were going to do before? Because the plan as of now is to bring all the Avengers back for Secret Wars. That's going to be this big, crazy cinematic event where you get all of our OG favorite Avengers back in the MCU, even hanging out with characters from the Sony Spider-Man movies and the Fox X-Men films, and that sounds freaking awesome. But it's actually been a long-ass time since Avengers Endgame. I think fans actually are ready for these characters to just come back. And if I were Feige, instead of trying to find another diamond in the rough to replace Jonathan Majors, I might just address the problem with the obvious solution and just bring Tony Stark and Captain America back and inject them in the story earlier to really carry the films and story as we get towards the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. So let me know what you think, guys. Let me know what you think about the craziness of them not even having this much of a focus on Kang until they saw how good Majors was. Let me know if you think they should keep Majors no matter what, who could possibly replace him, and then obviously let me know what you think about my idea to just bring Tony Stark and Captain America back early, and that might just solve all the problems. Smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, come on by our live streaming channel where we stream at 11 a.m. Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday, and I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.